That's when he looked up and saw it. It's well over 10 feet tall, built like a linebacker, and holding a tree in its hand like a baseball bat. The creature is covered in rank, clumpy, dark brown hair that is everywhere except its face. Its face appears very human. Well, everything except for its glowing orange eyes. Suddenly, the beast let out a loud roar and flung a huge tree trunk in his direction. He ducked as the 8-foot-long section of tree whizzed just overhead and landed behind him with a ground-vibrating thud. Then he feels the footsteps of the monster coming towards him. It's running. It was either now or never. You know, Ohio's got a special place in the cryptid world. The sheer variety of strange creatures reported in this state is enough to arouse any researcher's interest. You've got your amphibious humanoids, your hairy bipeds, your winged wonders, and even some critters with oversized noggins. It's a regular menagerie of mysterious shit. I did a video on the Loveland Frogman not too long ago. It's also based in Ohio. It's pretty fucking weird. I'll leave a description in the link. Wait, you know what I mean. For generations, tales of encounters with this elusive creature have stirred the imagination and fueled debates about its existence. From huge, shadowy figures moving in the dense forest to eerie footprints left in the soft soil, the Ohio Grassman has left more than just an impression. It left a permanent mark on the psyche of the folks that live in Ohio. The Ohio Grassman, aka Orange Eyes, aka Eastern Bigfoot, aka Minerva Monster. Because you could never have too many stories about giant hairy men wandering around the forest, right? It's a large, hairy bipedal creature that's often compared to the more famous cryptid Bigfoot or Sasquatch. This big fella freely roams the forests and wilderness areas of eastern Ohio. But who or what is the Ohio Grassman? Is it merely a figment of imagination spun from the threads of local lore? Or does it represent something more tangible, lurking just beyond the edge of perception? In this video, we'll sift through the evidence, separate fact from fiction, and shed light on the enigma that is the Ohio Grassman. The Ohio Grassman is reported to be between 7 and 11 feet tall, weighing in at either 300 pounds for the 7-footer and around 1,000 pounds for the complete nightmare. It's got a snub nose, deep-set eyes, very chesty, long arms, pointed and bulky head, no neck, monstrous wide shoulders, with black, gray, or brown hair. Most say it's shaggy looking, covering all of its body except the palms of its hands. A few say its fur is smooth and sparse. It has luminous red or orange eyes that can be seen when you shine a light in their direction. Some reports say it looks like a gorilla but appears to stand straighter. Other reports claim the creature looks more human than ape. The creature is reported to have no visible neck, and its face is usually not discernible due to a veil of long hair. Aw, he's emo. Its footprints range from 10 to 20 inches long and appear to have claws, pigeon toes, or flat feet. Some prints are 3-toed. I've noticed that on a lot of these different Bigfoots. Almost all of them have reports of 3-toed prints. It's an odd consistency. It makes a breathy bark or growl when it gets upset, that can be very unnerving. Some folks have even said they've heard babies crying and young women screaming back in the woods. If you don't see it, you'll definitely smell it if it's near. It has a strong smell of rotting meat. The smell has been picked up in its grass hut by researchers days after old Pigpen left it. Speaking of that, that's how the Ohio Grassman got his name. This big dude makes these grass dome-looking huts in fields using tall grass local to the area. Although tall teepee-like structures and caves with deer parts in the corner have also been found. It's known to kill dogs. Numerous unusual deer kills have been reported with just the deer's liver taken and its legs twisted off. Mothers with babies have been seen. Unknown feces have been found on tree limbs and on wood fibers. A 16-inch long strand of hair has been analyzed by Ohio State University but has never been identified. Up to 5 grassmen have been encountered at the same time of varying sizes. Jesus, that's got to be a family. In the 1700s, way before the first official sighting, local natives in the region had mentioned a race of bipedal ape men living in the Ohio grasslands. They called them wild ones of the woods. They would leave out food for the creatures to keep the peace with them. They even drew pictures of them. Also in the 1800s, sightings of a similar hairy biped were made by the Ohio River, where at least once it apparently tried to throw a man out of his carriage, but hauled ass when the man's daughter, who was riding as a passenger, started pelting it with rocks. Folks have said that in the beginning, the Ohio Grassman was chill, cool, no prob. In the late 1940s, a state highway was put in for, well, progress. The highway went right through the Ohio Grassman's dwelling, which was a tunnel situated in the Cleveland Riverside Cemetery. A tunnel in the cemetery? Yes. This forced it to move into the wooded area near Mill Lake, where it came into more frequent contact with human beings. And, for some reason, its attitude took a distinct turn for the worse. I wonder why. It ended up becoming the most aggressive Bigfoot species anyone's ever encountered. The first known encounter with the Ohio Grassman was in 1963. According to several eyewitness reports, the creature appeared before a shitload of eyewitnesses near Charles Mill Lake in Mansfield, Ohio. They described the beast as being approximately 11 feet tall and weighing somewhere in the order of 1,000 pounds. This is considerably larger than most hairy hominid reports, making the Ohio Grassman a monster to be reckoned with. Later in 1963, the terrified townsfolk wasted no time uniting as a group. They armed themselves and formed a posse in order to ensure this massive beast's extermination. Their concentrated efforts were, however, met with failure. Wah, 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 wah. The next recorded encounter with the Ohio Grassman occurred on April 22, 1968. A group of children spotted the beast near Mill Lake after dark and took off after it armed with flashlights, baseball bats, and rope. What were these kids planning to do with it once they cornered this 11-foot-tall, 1,000-pound hairy beast? Put it in timeout? Nevertheless, despite their efforts, the cryptid managed to evade capture, much to the disappointment of the children and undoubtedly to the relief of their worried parents. As with many Bigfoot encounters, the area where the Ohio Grassman has been seen has also been a hotbed of UFO activity. It's worth mentioning that on October 18, 1973, outside Mansfield, Ohio, a UFO emitting a bizarre green beam had an encounter with what eyewitnesses reported to be a military helicopter near the Charles Mill Reservoir. While there is no direct connection between this event and the Ohio Grassman phenomenon, one can't entirely rule out the possibility that our glowing-eyed friend might actually be from out of this world. That's for a future video. Butler, Ohio is a quiet community of 1,300, around 16 miles south of Mansfield. The town offers a wide variety of outdoor entertainment, such as canoeing, hay rides, and ski facilities. On the eastern side lies the beautiful Mohican State Forest, which provides an unlimited amount of camping and backpacking trails. The Roger Klein family live at Ohio State Route 95 at the Butler city limits. Their property extends a few acres back to a branch line of the CSX Railroad. Beyond the tracks lie the vast wooded hills and farmland of the Mohican State Forest. The first of these strange encounters occurred on the night of July 8, 1978 at 11 p.m. Eugene Klein and Ken O'Neill, both 17, were walking along the tracks when they heard a strange noise coming from the brush up ahead. The boys turned around towards the left and saw an unknown creature about 7 feet tall with large red eyes. The boys instantly panicked. Ken started running back to the house, but Eugene couldn't move. He seemed to be transfixed to the apparition for what seemed like minutes. Finally, the shock broke and Eugene made his getaway back to the house. Eugene described the creature as being about 7 feet tall with a head much larger than its body. It appeared to have red eyes. He further stated that there were no hands or feet visible. The boys couldn't give any details as to hair or skin. Both agreed that it made an unusual growling sound. Eugene's father called the sheriff's department and they checked the area. They also filed a report. Within 2 days, the Grassman was reported again. This time, the creature was seen by a carload of Mansfield residents. Their names are on the police report but are withheld due to confidentiality requests. It was about 10 p.m. when the group of young adults were at a railroad crossing. They told Belleville police that a huge black apparition with red eyes was in a slumped position by the tracks. The authorities were impressed because all their stories matched up while being interviewed separately. All the witnesses showed definite signs of fright. On the night of July 12, the creature was back on the prowl and back on the Klein's property. Teresa and her father, Roger, were pitching hay from the barn. A slow freight train was heading eastbound. The train began to sound its horn at long and short intervals. This is commonly done to warn workers or animals near the tracks to move away. Roger went back to the house while Teresa decided she wanted to see why the train kept blowing the horn. She had not gone far when she saw a silhouette with 2 glowing eyes. It emitted a foul odor and a high-pitched scream. Teresa threw her flashlight at it and ran. The Richland County Sheriff's Department investigated and found no physical evidence to substantiate this creature. Deputies remained skeptical and even mocked the stories. According to Butler Police Chief Phil Stortz, the Kleins were probably seeing a wild animal from the Mohican State Park. He said he could not see how Bigfoot could exist in Ohio. Surprisingly, shortly after that, Chief Stortz had a change of opinion. According to the Columbus Dispatch, he stated that footprints and unusual hair were found on the Klein's property. When he was asked about his previous statements, He denied ever saying that, and that the press misquoted him. Yeah, right. Eugene and Teresa are intelligent kids with no reason to carry out a hoax. Eugene caught a lot of shit from his classmates. He's also very familiar with many domestic and local wild animals. He liked to hike down to a nearby creek, chill there, and scope out the local wildlife as they approached the creek. Eugene said that much of that wildlife wasn't seen during the week in question, although the neighborhood dogs barked constantly and the cattle seemed spooked. The next sighting of the Grassman occurred in the small village of Minerva, Ohio in August of 1978, when the grandchildren of Minerva residents Evelyn and Hal Clayton, along with their friends, ran inside screaming about a hairy monster they saw in the gravel pit outside. When the couple went to check it out, they saw what the children were crying about. It was covered in dark, matted hair, sitting in the pit and fiddling with discarded trash. It was estimated to be around 300 pounds. Even though the Claytons fled, this would not be their last encounter with the Ohio Grassman. The Claytons have seen the Grassman several more times since. One night it was seen peeking at them through their kitchen window. Hal ran for his gun, but the creature was gone before he returned. The area was later investigated by police, and although there was no sign of the hairy humanoid, several faint footprints were observed in the mud, and a terrible smell still lingered in the air. The Ohio Grassman was later seen by the Claytons atop a hill near a strip mine at night. The next month, in broad daylight, the couple observed 2 hairy bipeds on the same hill. It was only after these reports made by the Claytons that a startling connection was made. Days before the gravel pit incident, the Claytons' German Shepherd was found dead, its neck broken, presumably killed by the hairy beast. The incidents came to be known as the Minerva monster sightings and sparked a wave of interest in the Grassman, which led to numerous investigations by cryptozoologists. After that, the Ohio Grassman stayed on the DL for a while. That is, until June of 1991, when the creature surprised a couple of older guys who were fishing near Willis Creek. These ostensibly horrified eyewitnesses stayed still in the hopes that it wouldn't see them. They had enough good sense to not go chasing after it. After a few minutes, it quietly retreated into the woods. In nearby Ashland County, in the fall of 1991, a dude and his best friend were investigating a supposed haunted bridge one night. This was one of those old railroad bridges you can drive through, and it's only one lane. They started to look around, and they heard rustling in the woods next to them, about 50 yards away. They didn't think nothing of it, so they continued looking around. The rustling began to get closer, but they thought that it was a deer or something. So they decided to walk toward the sound, up to this old abandoned barn to see what was in it. Well, all of a sudden, there was this loud, deafening scream, roar, growl noise, and they heard what sounded like heavy footsteps in the field next to them. They saw something running at them. It appeared to be somewhat on all fours. It was a massive creature with long, shaggy hair. It stopped about 15 feet away and stood up. It had to have been at least 10 feet tall. They then beat feet for the car, and the creature chased them. By the time they got to the car, another car was coming down the road, and it seemed to scare the creature away. I found some caught-on-camera type footage of the Ohio Grassman, and man, it's kick-ass. Check this shit out. This is a trail camera shot of the Ohio Grassman taken in June 2020. Its hair is covering its face, which is typical for these critters. Its hand is creepy looking and way too big to be human. The OP measured from the ground nearly to the limb it's standing below, and it was at least 9 feet tall. The side-by-sides he shows are obviously not at the same angle, so it looks like he's standing further away from the tree, but he's not. It's a pretty good capture, one of the more clearer pictures of Bigfoot I've seen. This is the same dude as before. He's tracking Bigfoot prints in the snow, and they're everywhere. As he's following them, he comes across the creature that made them. This is super creepy. There's audio here, so I'll shut the fuck up.
You can see the toes. Look at the size. That's my little boot. Look at that monster foot. And they go all the way up through here, and they go back. There's one right there. They go all the way back into there, then all the way down into there.
That's fucking crazy.
So we're gonna walk on up here and see if we can't see anything. Look at this. That is fresh. That is freshly broken. These are very fresh, probably a day or less. That was freshly, look. Right here too. It's a fresh break. You see, you can tell the difference. That's something that's been gone for a while. Let's keep on heading down, and they go all the way back through here. And yes, I am 100% alone out here. It's just me. So let's keep following these. I'm gonna try to listen. I want to get down in here a little bit. I want to try to listen for, see, here's some deer tracks. Look at that. Look at the size. So this is definitely some sort of game trail through here. Alright guys, I've been walking about 45 minutes following these. And down in there.
Here we go. Check it out.
There was a huge crash. I don't know if it was a deer, but I have a feeling it was this old boy. It's right down in there. I'm shaking so bad I can't hardly keep the camera still. Right. Did you hear it?
The fuck?
Right back in there. Right back in there. Try to zoom it in a little bit and see. We can't see something moving. You hear it? Oh man, you can hear that perfect. This is creepy out here by myself. I'm probably 3 miles away from my truck. Out in the middle of Salt Fork. Okay. Let's go keep walking a little bit. There's another break in the tree branch. Right there. This thing. Man, I'm getting stuck. This thing had to be, huge to come plummeting through there. Snap that, snap those. That's old. Look how old that is. That's not a fresh break. Those are fresh. Granted, they're little, but man, that one's still attached to the tree, so he must have been getting it through here. So let's keep walking. Look at that. Those are almost perfect. There's some deer tracks, big old foot tracks.
When I saw this, I was blown away. You can clearly see it has a human-like face. Watch it. Look at that fucker. It knows the hunter's blind it's looking at isn't real vegetation, and it looks like it's waiting for someone to come out. Night vision in the forest at night is already scary as fuck. This one's got a creepy vibe to it also. There's some audio with it. I'll just watch this shit.
What is that? Looks like eye shine. Whistle?
Oh, fuck.
Whistling was a bad idea.
Oh, shit.
Walk down there. I'm gonna try one last thing, tree knock. Where are you at?
Sounded pretty fucking close.
Where are you at? I hear it. How was it? Hold on. Jesus, it sounds like it's right in front of me. Oh, what a stupid thing went. Oh, wait. Damn it.
This big guy doesn't like being watched from a hunter's blind. I don't know if he was trying to hit the blind with the baseball bat swing or not. He was definitely trying to hit it with the log he threw at it. If it wasn't for that small tree, it would have nailed the hunter's blind. Jesus Christ, that thing's aggressive. Over the years, researchers have collected footprint casts, hair samples, witness interviews, pictures, and videos, all in an effort to prove the Grassman's existence. While no concrete evidence has been found, the consistency of the sightings and the detailed descriptions provided by witnesses have fueled speculation about the possibility of an undiscovered primate species living in Ohio's forests. Some even suggest that the Grassman could be a surviving population of Gigantopithecus, a giant ape that once roamed the earth during the Pleistocene era. They allegedly went extinct around 100,000 years ago. Personally, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if that was true. The Ohio Grassman and Giganto ape share a lot of traits. Moreover, they're constantly finding living examples of critters that are extinction survivors. It's both shocking and badass at the same time. I also believe there's way more than just a few of them. They're breeding and growing their population. That's why, in my opinion, people are seeing 7-foot and 11-foot grassmen. The 7-footers are juvenile grassmen. They're still growing. We've been on this wild ride through the twists and turns of Ohio folklore, the multiple consistent witness sightings, and unraveling the mystery of this elusive creature. And you know what? It's been a fucking blast. We've tapped into that primal urge to explore, to question, to seek out the unknown, and you know what? I want fucking more. So here's to staying curious, staying open-minded, and staying hungry for whatever comes next. Who knows what other mysteries are out there waiting to be uncovered? Only one way to find out. Until then, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you for watching and listening until the very end. You kick total ass.